spirits of all the people who have come into this auditorium for 96 years to see what's happening under this proscenium arch. A century of souls coming into this amazing building to enjoy what's happening up here. And sometimes we get the feeling that they don't leave. My name's Jill Witecki. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Tampa Theater. I've been here for 10 years. And I took over the Director of Marketing job and also the ghost tours from a woman named Tara Schroeder. Tara had been with the theater for more than 20 years and had told the stories of the spirits of this building. But one of the stories was very personal to her. It was the story she would use to end her tours. The story she would tell was that one day she was walking across the back of the auditorium, headed out to the lobby to meet somebody. And as she walked across the back of the auditorium, she thought she saw a man in a fedora sitting out in the seats. Now, there shouldn't have been anybody in the theater right then. The theater wasn't open yet for the evening shows. And so she stopped at the back rail and she called out to him, "Hey, can I help you with something?" And according to Tara, that man stood up, turned around to face her, and disappeared. Now you have to understand, most days the theater isn't open. We don't really get the building going until about 6 o'clock at night when it's time to pop the popcorn, get the stanchions ready, and start welcoming our guests in for the show. Before that, this room is dark. All of us were up in the offices in a different part of the building, but this room would be at about the light level that it is right now. Except these lights wouldn't be on. All you would have would be a single bulb on a stand up here. The ghost light. The ghost light's a theater tradition. There's a legend behind it that gives it its name, but then there's also a very practical purpose for having a ghost light. The legend of the ghost light is that it's bad luck to leave a stage dark. You always want to leave a single light burning overnight for the ghosts to play by. Because if you don't give them the stage during the day, they will not give you the stage at night. They'll wreak havoc on your productions. So you leave that ghost light burning so they know that that's their time. Of course, the practical reason to have a ghost light is as a safety light. Theaters are big light-proof boxes, and that first person to come in during the day has to get backstage safely, get to the rest of the light switches to be able to turn on the room. Then that ghost light gets bundled up and stored backstage until the end of the night. Well, that day that Tara was walking across the back of the room, the ghost light burning on the stage, she saw that figure silhouetted against the ghost light. And she saw him disappear. Now, Tara's first thought wasn't that she had seen a ghost. Tara's first thought was that somebody had forgotten to latch the door to Polk Street. Somebody had wandered in off the sidewalk, was enjoying the air conditioning, hiding out in the dark. So she went out to concessions and grabbed a flashlight. She started up and down the rows of seats, looking for the person she had seen. Didn't find him. She went and checked the doors to Polk Street. They were latched. Went out to the box office. "Excuse me, did you let somebody in here?" "No. Theater should be empty." That was when Tara started to wonder if she had seen a ghost. Now, Tara told me that story 10 years ago, and it's not that I didn't believe her. It's just that we didn't really have any proof. Nobody else had ever said that they had seen anything out in those seats. So a few years later, we had a paranormal investigative group come into the building, and they brought their cameras and their meters and their gadgets and their gizmos, and they wired up the whole building and filmed overnight to see if they could catch anything. So I told them the story of the man in the fedora, and I asked them to spend some time investigating right out there. So they took a night vision camera, infrared, set it right up here on the stage, focused back toward that section of seats, and let it run. And then they got out one of their meters, measures electromagnetic frequency, the energy that ghosts can pull together to materialize. Now, we're in a room with power, so there is electromagnetic frequency here. There is EMF in this room. And on their meters that night, the baseline reading was a 2.8. And they're coming up and down the rows of seats, 2.8, 2.8, 2.8. They get to row K, right there with the wide aisle. And they're coming down the row, 2.8, 2.8, 2.8, 8. Let's try the other end. 2.8, 2.8, 2.8, 9. One seat was spiking 3 to 4 times higher than any place else in the room. So one of the investigators, a guy by the name of Scott, decided to try to do some recording. He wanted to see if he could capture a voice of who might be sitting in seat 308. So he sat down in 307. He put his recorder there on the arm of the chair, and he started asking questions. Who are you? What's your name? Are you the person that Tara saw? Are you the man in the fedora? And after every question, he would leave some silence, hoping that when he went back and listened to that tape, that he would hear some answers. Now, they were in the building all night. They were here for more than 8 hours, filming everywhere. They had dozens of hours of footage and thousands of photographs that they had to go through. And it took them several weeks to do it. And a few weeks later, they came back to me to show me what they had captured. And I had told them, if we get something from 308, we'll leave it on the tour. But if we don't get anything, probably not going to tell that story anymore. Well, here we are. So they showed me some of the photos they'd gotten elsewhere in the building. The orb flying through the projection booth. The whispers out in the lobby where Robert Lanier died. Some other snippets from elsewhere in the building. And finally I said, okay, but what about seat 308? Should we leave it on the tour? They said, oh yeah. We saved the best for last. First, they showed me that piece of video that they captured from this camera. And you've seen infrared night vision footage. It's all grainy and blown out and everything looks weird. And this certainly looked weird. What they captured was something about the size of a grapefruit. And it was lit up. So either it was making light or it was reflecting light from something else. And it started at the end of the row, zipped down the row, landed in a seat, and dissipated. So fast that they had to slow the footage down to see it clearly. Line drive, right down the road, dropped into that seat, and was gone. And I said, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen! It's proof there really is something in C308. Tara wasn't making it up. We can leave it on the tours. And they said, wait until you hear the recording. And they started playing for me the tape that Scott had recorded that night. And on that tape, you can hear every single question he asks. Who are you? What's your name? Are you the person that Tara saw? Are you the man in the fedora? And after every single one of those questions, we got nothing. Nothing. Not a single answer to any one of them. But right at the end of the tape, right as he was getting ready to turn off the recorder, Scott finished up his session by saying, we're not trying to get rid of you. We're just trying to prove you exist. Help us keep Tampa Theater alive for years and years to come. As soon as he finished talking, you heard a man's voice answer ghosts are trying to help Tampa Theater. And by all of you being here tonight, you become part of the story of Tampa Theater that's been here for 96 years and will be here for at least 96 more to come. And that's our evening of Campfire Stories.